Yo everybody's, it is Electro Superfox again, coming at you for the second FLOSSTUBE video. Welcome back to everyone who was here last time. Welcome to everyone who joined, many of you who joined along the way since my second video. So cool to have you here, and I think I gotta thank a lot Miriam and Nithya because they mentioned me in their last respective videos, and I believe that this is how you came along here. Um, and they were so sweet. Like I was totally starstruck because I'm a huge fanboy of them, um, and like I did not expect it. And when Miriam did it at the end of their video, like at the shadowed part, Nithya did it out of nowhere. And I mean, she's getting used to surprising me because first time I told you that she had put me on her Instagram feed to support me when I just released my first video, and I was quite shocked. Um, and there I was, dumb me was stitching whilst watching her, and I was paying attention, but also trying not to make too many mistakes in my stitching. And at some point, I was, eyes on my needle, and I hear my name, Electra, and I just started blushing around in my own bedroom, alone in front of my computer. Um, so yeah, she knows how to surprise me. But that's so sweet. Thank you a lot. You are two wonderful human beings. And I'm so stoked that you support me. Um, so yeah, second flash video. This is gonna be about finishes, whips, and especially books and like haul and stuff my mother gave me. So to start, I'm gonna talk about FFOs. I've got two. However, I only have one to show you today because the other one had to leave because I just gifted it to my friend for her birthday. So it was Quaker Quaker Hedgehog by Darling Whimsy Designs, stitched on flax, Zweigart, 32 count, nothing special, linen, pretty regular. Because I had just a square laying around, so I used it for it. Then I stitched it with some variegated floss for the hedgehog called Prune by Ninnis Threads, and then the rest of it is DMC, and it is 400 and 223. And what's cool is that, honestly, if I'm being fully sincere, I forgot to get her a gift. And like, I just reminded me like 2 days ago, and I was like, oh my god. And I figured that I could stitch her a little quickie, something small, something cute, just, for the sake of, a little gift, handmade, that's cool. And so it was finally time for me to stitch a quickie quicker. I have been watching Michelle from Bendy Stitchy making hers for so long. And it's like, at every new video, she would pop another one. And yeah, it was like, I felt like every new video that I was watching from her, she would at least have one new quickie quicker done. And honestly, often several at the same time. So yeah, I wanted to try it out, and I figured that it was the perfect occasion. I stitched it in like maybe 2 hours while watching stuff, and then I framed it really simple. Um, but it was a joy to stitch, and I'm actually gonna stitch it twice because the idea is that I'm gonna buy several of them because it's like tattoos. You get one, you want to get all of them. And I'm gonna put them on one piece of fabric, just like Nithya did for the menagerie of Miriam. She did them on a second piece of fabric so that you get the sense of the collection. And that's what I really like about it, is that you can really see that it's a series, and so it makes sense, and it gives a lot of power to the designs, even though they're small. So that's cool. So I'm gonna do that. I actually did a list of the ones that I'm interested in, and girl, it's gonna be expensive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna treat myself and have one. I'm gonna buy one every month, and so it's gonna be the little Quaker Quaker rendezvous. Um, so that's cute. I do not know. I think what I want to do is have a single color palette for all of them. Um, but maybe I will do singular colorway for each of them. But I don't think that I like the too chaotic um, vibe. I think because it's gonna be a single piece, I think I want some cohesion to it. So I'll think about it. But yeah, I'm really eager to begin this, and uh, yeah, I'll keep you posted on that. So that was my first FFO. Then you've got one that I'm really stoked about. That is Spring Pincushion by Motherfucking Embroidery. So this is stitched on 36 count lilac by Zweigart with DMC 3042. And so it's partially stitched 1/2, so like most borders and little dots are stitched 1/2. The rest of it's like the characters, the corner ornaments, the heart, and this ornament is done 2/2. And what I like about this is that um, because it's tone on tone, you kind of lack the idea that a lot of colors create texture. When here, the texture comes out of the fact that I've switched the amount of threads used, and so, I mean, you probably can't see it here, but to me, this is what gives interest to this piece, and I really love it. So yeah, quite proud. Um, and the frame is beautiful, and it's all black. It's giving simplicity. It's giving, elegance. I love it, and I actually tweaked it a little. So, I switched the lady for a man because gay, and this heart comes actually from the second pincushion in the chart. This ornament from the third one, and I added initials and year of stitching. But yeah, love it. I'm really proud of it. Then another finish that I have not framed yet is one that I'm really, really like. Not gonna say emotional, but like I'm really attached to it. And this is the Peacock Tree by again Motherfucking Embroidery. And so this is 36 count flax, un petit fil les nuits violettes for the floss, and this is actually the first ever linen piece that I've stitched, and the first time I used variegated floss. So it's kind of an accomplishment of like finishing it. I started it on December 26th of 2022, and so having it here finished is quite the good feeling. And I'm definitely gonna frame it because I love this piece. It's beautiful. Really proud of it. Do not know where I'm gonna put it. I might give it to a friend or my mom. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so proud of it. Then because I finished 2 Motherfucking Embroidery pieces, I figured that I could begin one new. As the idea of the Cute Up Style by Nithya. So basically, if you want to start a new piece by a set designer and you already have something of theirs in your whip pile, then you should finish your whip first before starting something new. Kind of like self-regulation, being responsible, being an adult, etc., etc. Well, plot twist is out of the 2 new starts I have, only one is a queued up cell. The other one is just me being reckless and beginning stuff when I don't need to. This first one, however, so it's Motherfucking Embroidery, and this is the Unicorn Pincushion. So this is it. Wait, do I have a piece of black paper around? Okay, so this is Unicorn Pincushion. And so this was set as a monochrome piece. However, I have seen Jacob's version on his Instagram, and he stitched it with like 3 or 4 colors in a beautiful color palette, and it kind of made me want to try this and not rely on monochromatic for once. So I ended up choosing some variegated floss for the unicorns, and some like the petals are going to be pinks also, and the flower pot and some other ornaments. And this is a French dye called Soso with a floss called Mayotte. And what I try to do some variegation magic here, because I did not want to stitch it horizontally. So I kind of try to use the curves and some kind of anatomical logic to it, and I think it gives that pretty much cool stuff, isn't it? I don't know. I like it. So this is for the pink. Then you've got some beige for the horns and some ornaments also. That's Acropole by Histoire de Lin, another French dyer. And then what you can't really see, which is what I want, is the brown that I've used for the for some elements of it. That is Classic Colorworks color Cocoa Bean. And what's funny is that, so this is some brown fabric that I found at a flea market, and I'm going to tell you about anon. It's a perfect match. Like cocoa bean and this fabric is quite the perfect match. You can't see anything, and I love it. I love it because it's kind of my style. It's kind of my signature to have tone on tone and invisible stuff, invisible stitching. So it's cool. It's a joy to stitch, of course, but having to think about the variegation is a cool exercise because you can't just go array and just stitch around. You've got to think about the way you're going to stitch and your journey, and how you're going to travel into the chart. And it's cool to think about. And it's not so I'm not the fastest at this one, but it's okay. I mean, I chose it, so can't really complain, but it's interesting. Then the other start I have is Shaded Stitchery, and it's the Black Butterfly Sampler, stitched on 36 count Silver Moon Lune Argentée by Zweigart with un petit fil nuit noir. So it's a black floss, variegated. And so yeah, I'm just having the butterfly done. I love the back. The back is very beautiful also, I believe. And so yeah, talking about a new sword that I did not need, I did not finish Data Portraits. You're gonna see that I haven't not stitched a bit much on it either. But you know what? I mean, I wanted to stitch it for a friend, and I actually will not have the time to finish it for what I wanted to have as a date of due. But I'm happy that I started it because it's a beautiful design. But I think I'm gonna restrain myself to finish Data Project first, and then stitch on this, just for the sake of be a bit organized and not going full crazy on stuff, because I want to keep it. I want to keep my stitching routine quite neat and not do too much crazy stuff. So now we're gonna go on whips, so things that you've seen before. I have not stitched on everything I showed on the first video, just because some of them I did not feel like stitching at the time. For this, I have Data Portraits by Nori again, and like I said, I did not did so much stitching in this. I added some of the yellow, some black, some red. But yeah, not too much work put into this. I just did not feel like it this month, this past 2 weeks. And it's okay, of course. But yeah, motivation, finish this in order to begin real Black Butterfly Sampler. So yeah, and this is stitched with pretty much all the called fors, except some of them that I switched for stash just because they were close enough. And yeah. Then you've got Tatreez by Jordan Nassar. And I'm fairly happy with this one because last time you probably only had something like this with just a bit of this, and now you've got part of the bottom part. So that's cool. And I also got to add the magenta color accent element, and I'm really happy about it. I think it fits really well, and I'm gonna keep doing it. Um, Instead of plan B that was to just only use the two colors of the top. I think I think it's giving. My sister already has put an option on it. She wants it, so I will give it to her. But yeah, it's cool to stitch because it's repetitive. So it's like you can start like automatic mode and just stitch a lot. But at some point it gets boring, so you got to put it down. I mean, at least I do. Um, and you want a fun fact? I don't know if you're gonna be able to figure it on the screen, but I frogged this part and I frogged this part, not because I did mistakes, because I did not, but because the back was not beautiful enough. I know, and honestly, I had a lot of frog. But the thing is that for these pieces, so there's still some threads that I have not buried yet, so don't mind that. But I'm trying to do what I call a beautiful back. Is it going to be your beautiful back? I don't know, but at least it's mine. And these two parts that I felt were not being cohesive, so I just decided to do this crazy stuff that was not asked for because no mistakes were made, but it's just for like personal yeah, I don't know, it's just something that I wanted to do. So yeah, the thing also I found this a couple of days ago on Instagram, and you probably know about it already, but talking about the Tatreez, which is this traditional form of embroidery in Palestine, I stumbled upon the Instagram of Tatreez initiative, and basically I will put it in the description box. If you don't know, you can check. And basically, it's a Palestinian embroidery archive library, and this is quite phenomenal. So you can find that every village, every region has different motifs in trees and in stitching, and so this is a catalog made to have them all at one point. And so it's a really archival process of finding them and then recording them in the library. And it's so cool because not only do you get the charts and the patterns for free, but also you get, and this is the most important part, you get the history behind it, you get the name, you get the village from origin. So this is so cool as a learning tool about the trees. Um, so yeah, definitely recommend that you take a look at it if you don't know it already. Um, yeah, I'm probably gonna take a look at it and stitch some stuff because the Tatreez is so cool to stitch, and it gives out so many beautiful designs and effects, and it's a great patrimoine within French. It's a great tradition. So yeah, learn about it more because it's dope. So that's the Tatreez, and for the thread I'm using, it is DMC 934, 211, and 917. Stitched on platinum, Ada, 18 count. Quite the classical choice for me. Kind of my sweet spot. Yeah, love it. Then you got, this is, oh my god, this is Kate Atkinson, and I'm loving what I'm doing. Because I told you last time that I was running into dilemmas regarding the colorway and what I was gonna do. The purple was too bright, the beige was um, too invisible, basically, and hard to read more. Um, and so yeah, I was running through some issues with it, but I found what I like, and so I'm really happy to share it with you. So this is where I am at as of now. So I frogged the flower and the flower pot for a new purple color. And then because I needed, as a design sake, to see how colors were interacting with each other once stitched, I actually started some alphabet borders and this little bird. And it is stitched 1/2 on 40 count. Moufarrege by Zweigart, and I love it. So basically, I did not change the beige. So the beige is Bunny Honey by Classic Colorworks. I did not change it because I felt like this very light color is actually interesting. And to me, it's probably because it's in relation to the purple, but to me it has a purple hue to it, so it's interesting in itself. Then what else? So the very light purple I actually kept for the C, which is charted as a singular color. So in the called for, it's a marine, it's a navy blue, but that's only for the C. So like it's really an accent color. So I figured that this light purple was a good, wink at what I frogged before several times. Then the greens have not changed. It's just that at the beginning it was DMC and now it is two. It's one Histoire de Lin, Cyprès, and one Atelier Verdot, but I think it was already the case in the first video, so never mind. Then yeah, so the purple became Histoire de Lin Figue, which is very less saturated. It's darker, it's deeper. It's just better for what I'm trying to do here. And then now my new issue was the brown. So I started with I do not remember what it is, and I've already put it away. But it was the brown that I used for the P, R, and the bird, which was kind of variegated. It was lighter. It was soft. I think the term is soft. It's like, yeah, it's nice. It's soft, but it was not deep. It was not giving me structure. It was not giving me, depth. So I switched it to DMC 3371, and I used it already for this border here. And I was first waiting to frog PR and bird, and I was like, you know what? I have frogged enough on this piece, and I will not do any more. So I'm gonna keep it that way, because as much as the C is an accent color that reminds of the purple, while these two, like these three little brown elements, are gonna remind of the darker brown, and it's okay. And I think it's actually gonna give something a bit, it's gonna give something. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it that way. No more frogging on this. I'm fed up with it, quite frankly. And honestly, I think it's going to be to the benefit of this piece. So really happy with what I'm doing with Kate Atkinson. And it's kind of the piece nowadays that I want to stitch on because I finally found what I like doing with it. So that's cool. Next, we have the Swedish folkcushion by Model for Embroidery. And I definitely did not stitch all that much on it still. I just continued the floral border around the characters. However, did I find my new color palette? And that's cool because, again, there was a dilemma. So the two blues that you've seen stitched are Blue Moon and Blacksmith Blue by Classic Colorworks, and they did not change because, I was already stitching it, so I did not want to frog. However, now we've got Histoire de Lin Chocolat, chocolate, Nina Threads Orchid, which is a real light purple, and Nina Threads Seaweed, which is literally seaweed. And so it's quite a muted colorway, except for the very light and bright purple. However, it's giving me life, it's giving me everything, and you know what it's giving me also? It's giving me my uncle's bedroom at my grandparents' house. Okay, imagine. So it's like carpet on the floor, kind of like a Baroque, light beige wallpaper, and then checkered sheets in like browns and greens, faded greens. It's giving 70s, it's giving, 780s, a room that a teenager did not choose, but is living in, and it's warm, it's cozy. This is what it's giving me. And please relate. And if you don't, I mean, I won't be surprised, because I'm trying to have you relate on something that's much of a personal reference. But if you get the G's, then that's cool. But yeah, I'm happy. And you know what? The Q snap, as much as I don't generally like stitching on a Q snap, because I'm faster in hand and I'm more at ease in hand, for dark fabrics, it's like it's a lifesaver, because I was not seeing anything. So like, take my Q snap, put a white cloth on my knees and good lighting, and off I went. So that's cool. I need to stitch it more. And check my needle minder. It's the only one I have, and I do not know who made it. I bought it on Etsy, but it was a reseller in France. And yeah, it's cute. It's sad because in France we don't have, or at least I did not find yet, the amount of like needle minders and like little zipper pulls or any cute stuff that y'all use, and I'm fairly jealous about it. Yeah, so this is all from my whips and everything that I've stitched, and now we're gonna go into the haul part. So everything that I bought first. So on the general secondhand market, I bought my first ever paper charts, and again, this is something that's not common for me in France to buy, because everything that we stitch on is not really accessible here in paper form. Some of the shops do have like Blackbird designs, Plumstead samplers, and stuff like that. But obviously they don't have everything, and the ones they have I do not like, because that's how life works. And they don't have like bendy stitchy, they don't have Moufarrege embroidery and stuff like that. So I generally do not have a lot of paper patterns. However, yeah, I found them on secondhand app, and I was stoked for one of them, and I had to get two because it was a package sale. But the one that I wanted was Amish quilts, because I am into quilting. I don't know if I already told you that, but I am big on quilting, and I actually have books to show you about that. And Amish quilts are the most beautiful. From what I saw in books, they're not giving me Amish quilts in particular, in the sense that the ones that I've seen are really like diamonds and rectangles, diamonds and squares, a lot of like plain colors, and most of the time bichromatic. But again, I am not an expert, nor am I an Amish quilter, so what do I have to say? But the design is cool, like it's classical folk blocks, so it's gonna be to stitch. And I'm gonna skip the whole Amish hard quilts, like, because I don't relate to that, and I'm gonna go for a more minimalist. So I'm gonna even skip, I believe, the names of the quilts. But yeah, that's cool. This chart dates back to 1987, and yeah, and about quilts, I probably did not tell you, I'm not a really traditional quilter yet. What I'm gonna show you, the last quilt I made was out of a blazer that my grandfather gave me a couple of years ago, and it started as a project from school, and it got into a personal project that I'm gonna keep. It's gonna be a series through time and through my life, actually. The idea is to create memory quilts out of the clothes I wear. So, for example, this blazer I've been wearing for the past 4 years, and it's been in my daily rotation. Like, honestly, out of a year, I probably was wearing it 300 days. When it was raining, snowing, when it was cold, and it was definitely a cold jacket. But French fashion, all that, blah blah. But yeah, I've lived many adventures with it, and so when I noticed that it was starting to fade off and wear out because it was already old when I got it, and because I was wearing it so much, I did not want it to have it rot too much. So what I did was that I unpicked it completely, spread it flat, and then repieced it together to form this patchwork. Then I have quilted by hand, and using the lining of the jacket, I actually made some applique embroidered blocks with some embroidered memories that I had with this jacket. You know, it's a whole lot of memories, and I did not want to lose that. So now it's something that I want to put on the wall, and it's a very dear to my heart piece. And this is the kind of quilting that I like to make these days, quilting out of clothing. And um, you're probably going to see it more next year because I'm going to do it at school as part of my fashion design practice, probably. But yeah, however, I'm still very interested in traditional folk patchwork blocks because, well, first, on a pure like design aspect, they are so cool and they are so versatile. Like you can make so much with like squares and half square triangles that it's quite impressive. And so yeah, it's still important for me to learn about it and to have documentation about it. And you'll see that I actually got some more today. And maybe one day I'll make a video about all the books I have related to needlework because I'm starting to have quite a few of them. So yeah, all that aside, the second chart that I had to have through this package was this Established with Love chart. And I don't necessarily like it. I would have not chose it if I had the choice. It's from 1983, and yeah, it's not my style. But what's funny is, so this is the front, right? And I just had it laying on my desk, and at some point I took it and I saw this on the back side of it, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. I want to stitch it. This is so, yeah, this is so sweet. It's a shame that it's a vintage and one of a kind pattern because I wish I could find this one. And guess what? Yeah, this is, I mean, kind of felt dumb. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna skip this whole text part and I'm just gonna make this rectangle here. Um, because yeah, it's really pretty. And I'm gonna switch the heteros for two lesbians, I believe, and I want to gift it to my couple of my friends, like a couple of friends that are in couple. And it said this home was established with love in said date. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful little chart on its own that I will stitch at some point. Then I went to a Needleworks flea market in Paris. So it was, yeah, specialized in needlework. So a lot of stuff, a lot of like stitchy stuff, crochet, even rugs, beautiful traditional Turkish rugs, I believe. Um, really cool. The ladies were really nice, and I bought some stuff. So that's funny. The lady that I bought it to, so some fabric in a book, she was like, interesting to know if I was stitching. So I said, yeah, I do cross stitch. It's part hobby, part artistic practice because I'm in art school. And she said, oh my god, what school are you in? So I told her my school, and her son, guess what, was part of the school a couple of years ago, and he graduated in like 2016, something like that. And so it kind of like sparkled the little thing of like, let's chat. And so that was cute. And she was actually name dropping some professors, and I know them, so it was quite funny. So I bought some fabric. This is canvas, and the hell, why did I buy that? The color is like a khaki brownish thing, and it's beautiful. I never done canvas, and it's a band, but like it's a long band. It's like extending. I have never stitched on canvas before. I believe that you would have to use more of a pulled cotton, or maybe the whole six strands of like embroidery floss. Um, I don't really know. We'll see. If you know, if you used to stitch that, tell me, and also tell me. Um, so like, I think you can actually stitch like regular cross stitch design on it, but what's the typical thing to do with canvas? To me, the knowledge I have about canvas is that usually it's printed beforehand, and then you stitch on the printed canvas fabric the design. I have in mind the work of a gay artist called Nicolas Moufarrege, who was American and Lebanese born um, textile artist and also curator that did beautiful work. And he actually stitched his name in sequins on a canvas pattern. And this is kind of the image I have about canvas. So if you are well versed in canvas, then please let me know if you got the time. I would be so happy to hear from you. So yeah, some of this, and it was cheap, so I was like, you know what, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but new thing, new skill unlocked soon, so that's cool. Then I've got some even weave, and all I'm gonna show you here is 28 count, which is not regular count for me, but it's cool. I mean, spreading the horizon. So this is some aquamarine, and this is some écru, 18 count, and the size is honestly really reasonable for the price I got had. So I'm happy with this, and I've got some other lilac linen as if I do not have any. However, I don't have any in 28 count, and I've got the brown 28 count that I've started stitching the unicorn pincushion on. So that's cool. I still have a bit of it. So yeah, and it's funny because it's quite stiff. It folds very nicely. So yeah, joy stitch on. And so this lady, I bought a book too. America's Quilts and Coverlets. This is huge. This is heavy. And this is not printed right. Like, this is the cover right. But if you want to read it, you gotta switch it. And actually, can someone explain this to me? Because I can't. But yeah, it's I have not read it in entirety. However, the cool thing about this is that it is split into different categories around different style of coverlets. And so you've got jacquard, you've got okay. So this, I'm really interested in this. So this type of house motif quilts, I'm really interested in because it reminds me of an artist, another gay artist, of my mental library called David Wojnarowicz, who was very famous in the 80s in New York because he was really he was prominent and he was really political and engaged for not only his cause, that was the queer gay cause, and especially the AIDS fight, because he died of it beginning of the 90s, but also he was really strong about the cause of black people and Latinos. And what I like about it is that I've read stuff by gay writers, for example, French gay writers, and most of the time they're like not really versed into intersectionality. And I think in France we were kind of late on that topic. So reading memoirs by Wojnarowicz was quite refreshing, and I'm totally a fan of his work. And so some of his work, so he was a photographer, he was writer, he also did some drawing and stuff. And so amongst this whole body of work, he also did stencils, and he did stencil of a burning house. And so what I would like to do on a baby quilt, because I'm not going to do like a 2 meters square quilt because, you know, it's a bit much for me still. I would like to do a quilt like this, so with houses, and applique on it some flames to make Wojnarowicz burning houses. And it would be cool because, you know, making traditional house quilts would, you know, teach me about traditional skills and like traditional quilting. And, you know, the applique would make this an homage to one of my favorite artists. So I'll again put his name and Nicolas Moufarrege's name in the description box so you can check it out. Yeah, absolutely love it. So this book is cool, and it is full with images, like full with images again. It's like not even funny. It's like, look at this. Look at this. It's documentation. It is knowledge. It is archives. It is giving me life. Love it. And it was cheap. It was like this one I bought for maybe €4. 3 or 4, something like that. Really cheap. This was for the flea market. Then on the general, again, like secondhand universe, I bought this book around patchwork again. It's French. It's called Le Patchwork ou la Désobéissance, so patchwork or the disobedience, and it is from the 90s, and it's interesting. It's like the other one. It's more of like a history book, but this one is also intertwined with like sociology and how designers and artists of quilts have both, you know, taken some distance with like traditional practices to, you know, give something more personal and or interesting to their eyes, but also how patchwork and quilting is related to the way that women, for example, um, you know, took back some of their identity and some of their strength from this really feminine, like traditional um, needle. Wait, I'm looking for my words. From this really feminine dwelled practice. So that's really interesting, and that's something that is really important for me to, you know, learn about and document myself about. So this one is absolutely stunning. The colors are crazy. So yeah, that's cool. I'm really happy about this item. And so you'll see that most of the books I have for now are, especially for patchwork and quilting, are more about the history and the social relationships between the practice and the people who are making it. Because to me, as an artist and as a student, it is very important for me to like ground myself into theoretical knowledge in order to raise away from it and create stuff on my own. However, as much as this is a great foundation, technicality is also important. So I just got my first technical related book about quilt making. So it's called The Complete Book of Quilt Making. It's from 1985, and it is very cool because it bears a first part where you got a rundown of different types of quilt blocks and traditional arrangement of quilts. And again, with like stunning images and the whole variety. And then you've got a more technical part to it. So like ways that you can draft and sew together and etc. etc. And that's something that I was lacking in my collection, and so it's gonna help me, well, build the house quilt, for example, and other stuff. It's like a toolbox for then, you know, making your own stuff. So that's dope, and it makes me think. A couple of months ago, I bought some zines by a really small independent woman-owned editor in Britain called Common Thread Press, and they launched a book with a zine with a historian and quilt maker called Jess Bailey, also known as Public Library Quilts on Instagram. And so it's a little zine called Many Hands Make a Quilt, and it's really interesting. It's a quilt art history book, and it goes from, for example, the AIDS quilt, the name quilt, to some Black Power quilts, to some Native American projects, etc., etc. And so it's, well, at first very interesting, of course, but what also is interesting about Jess Bailey is that, well, her Instagram is so cool. Like, her work is really cool, and she often puts some of her books in her stories, and her collection is like astonishing, and I'm really jealous of it. And what she often says is that, go around flea markets, go around the secondhand market, because you're gonna find books that are really interesting and that are often cheap, and that you can base your whole practice on. And what I like about it is that, what I think is cool about our line of work is that needlework cannot be outdated in technique. Unless you use some machine that have evolved through time, like a needle is a needle, and the way I'm going to pierce the fabric is pretty much the same as any woman of the 19th century. And so what's cool is that it makes our art form and craft so much accessible, because you can find pretty much any like needlework book about embroidery, cross stitch, quilt around, and learn from it. And it's like, if I was into science, for example, well, I wouldn't be able to use books from the 80s because, hey, things evolve fast in science. In needlework, styles evolve, but techniques do not so much. So I think it's a precious thing that we have, and that we have to, claim, because it makes our craft so much available for people. And for example, the next book I'm going to show you is quite the good example of this. This is something that I told you about in my first video, but that I had not received at the time. And it's called Encyclopédie des ouvrages de dames par Thérèse de Dijon. And so this is, I think today it's my oldest book altogether. This is thick, this is big, this is heavy, and this is exhaustive. So this book is from the original editions from 1886. This one, I believe, from my knowledge on bookmaking, cannot be younger than maybe 50s, and it's probably older than that, but there's no dates, so it can't be sure, and I could not find the intel on internet. So Thérèse de Dijon was, by memory, Austrian embroiderer and like needlework expert, and she was asked by the dudes at DMC at the time to come to France and actually work for them as a chart designer, in order to both give courses and also write books, and in order to have charts available for people to stitch. And so she did that eventually, and she also wrote a book. So this book, comprising every single stuff that she knew about. And let me tell you that the woman knew a lot. This is incredible. This is an encyclopedia, so this is full of knowledge, from like lace work to white work, cross stitch, traditional embroidery, crochet, knitting, mending, twisted cord making, gold embroidery. You name it, it's probably going to be in it. like I said, I mean, it is more than 100 years old, and I can still use it as a strong base foundation for my needleworks practice. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be as good as them back in the days based on these written instructions and a couple of images, of course, but because a lot of it is also meant to be, taught like from one hand to the other. However, this is like some precious, precious, precious knowledge, and I'm so stoked to have it. And what's funny is also, so when I bought it, the photos that were included in the post, comprised of like some of the pages and stuff, and one of them was actually about Yugoslav embroidery. So it's this one, and I'm of Yugoslavian descent. I'm Slovenian and part Croatian if you get a bit back further. And so in my personal practice, I am seeking a lot traditional needleworks techniques in the countries that my grandparents come from, so Portugal and Slovenia. And it's hard. It's hard in France to find this kind of intel because it's not stuff that have traveled around countries. And so when I found this, I was like, when I saw this picture on the post, I was like, oh my god, I need to get this book. But the plot twist is, it is not about, like, there's no charts, for example. This part of the book, with all these, like, teasers and ads, actually, refer to other books that Thérèse de Gilmont wrote. And she actually wrote 2 books about Yugoslavian embroidery. And yesterday I actually found that they were available at some, like, specialized library in Paris. So I will go take a look at them at the library. But yeah, beautiful book, a lot of illustrations, a lot of engraved plates, color plates that are phenomenal. So yeah, this is just like crazy stuff. I love it, and because it's old and it actually got some, damage, and because I have some knowledge in cartonnage and box making, I will do a little slipcase for it in order to, preserve it and, give it, it deserves it. Honestly, it deserves a lot. This book deserves a lot. So then, the haul is finished. Now I'm going to talk about my mom. So I told you in my first video that my mom is the, like, quintessential cross stitcher in my life. And we went to my parents' country house this weekend with my sister and them, and we found her old cross stitch kit, like, box, and we went through it. And I mean, she had not done it in a while, so she was quite moved. And all these pieces were like from the 2000s, so myself as a kid, I did not remember everything. So I was quite soaked, and I got to snatch some stuff that she agreed to give me. So amongst them, there are some books, some Cross Stitch Shorts catalog, partially edited by DMC actually. So this is a selection of their whole collection. Then you've got some work corpses and some bathroom and, like, sea water stuff. This is not the one that I'm most interested in, but it was just gonna sleep in the attic, so I might as well have taken it. And what's funny about these books is that I did not remember it, but when I saw it, I instantly had the memories come back. My mom, she would ask my sister and I to mark these books with the charts that we would like her to stitch for us. And oh my god, was I a demanding child. All these bookmarks are stuff that I wanted her to make me. And my sister probably had 1 or 2. Crazy. So what I'm gonna do with this is, like, I'm gonna create a sampler design based on this selection that I did when I was a kid, and when my mother is more into knitting these days and is probably not gonna stitch all this for me now, which is totally legitimate. I'm gonna take on this work and do it my own. So yeah, I'm gonna gather everything up and I'm gonna make a big cross stitch chart for it and stitch it. And I think it's cute, the idea that my mom launched the initiative like 15 years ago and that I'm taking it back today as a personal gratification stuff and an homage to, you know, what she wanted to make us. So it's gonna be quite the work piece. And just to give you a hint at, like, yeah, so this is a like teddy bear double spread. So my name is here, 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 here. I want it all. And this is just an excerpt. Quite demanding. So yeah, I will tell you more about it anon. I gotta think about the color chart, the colorway, what I'm gonna do with it, monochrome or not, etc., etc. So it's gonna be a big piece, but it's gonna be cool. Then we've got some paper charts that was part of a box set by DMC around hearts, and one of them you're actually gonna see stitched by my mom. The ones that I want to stitch are this butterfly one, which is quite cool. And I hope, I mean, knowing my camera, I'm not flashing too much the chart, but. And the one that I'm really excited about, because I feel it's so dramatic, is this one with angels. And to me, it's giving me drama, it's giving me life. I love it. So I got another one that I'm not particularly interested in, but okay. This and some fabric also. So some slightly mottled purple fabric. So yeah, to me it's mottled. Maybe my eyes are tired, but again, some lilac. I mean, kind of like feeding my obsession. And then, so this is 18 count. This is 20 count, and this is red. And I have red fabric now. The hell do I know what I'm gonna do with it? But like, she was not gonna use it because it's too small of a count for her now. And I might as well have taken it. So we'll see. I know that Uncanny Carrie and Dee did Vierge de Fer. So wait. I don't know how you call this again, but pink and red design, and so maybe I can reverse the colors and do this chart on this fabric. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. So this is for the things that I got and I'm actually going to use. Now I'm just going to give her a bit of a shine spot now because I'm going to show some of her work. So this is, for example, one of the hearts that she stitched. And so this is on the modeled lilac. The modeling is actually on the backside, so I don't know if she didn't like it or if she didn't see it or if she did not just give a shit. But yeah, this is pretty, right? Then you've got this beautiful little flower, and it's giving me so much my vibe of the 20,000 when I was a kid, because I was a lot into black and purples, and I mean, still am now, of course, you probably noticed it, but it's something that dates back to when I was a kid, and this is, like, had I known that this was a thing, I would have, like, had it framed in my room when I was a kid. Love it. And I'm probably gonna frame it. Then you've got this piece. That's a whole, like, set. And so how she stitches my mom is that she would take, out of these books, she would take some motifs and arrange them on her own and create these arrangements. So these two ducks here, they were so cute. But my spotlight on this is this house that I put on Instagram. The colors are bananas, and the backside of it, gonna call me crazy. I love it. So like, need back people. I know it's not gonna be your tea, but to me, it's giving me, it's giving me nature got its right back and started growing stuff on houses. And actually, I do not touch it all that much together. This piece of thread actually is randomly set as the smoke of a chimney. And that's just life, you know, that's crazy. I absolutely love this side of this piece. So yeah. Yeah, my mom, she's not a neat backstitcher. She doesn't give a shit. And that's something that she actually recognizes and lives with. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is actually the most emotional thing around these parts, is a piece that I did not recover this weekend. I've had for quite some time now. But I found the chart back this weekend. And so this is something that she stitched when I was a kid for me. And it's an ABC with mice on it. And this is big. And you know, in the first video, when I told you that I had memories of my mom stitching, this is actually something that I recall her stitching. And it took her so much time. So just like many of you, I believe, she had work to do. She had, you know, the family to take care of. Like as a woman, she had a lot of stuff on her shoulders. And so she still took the time to stitch this. And I believe that is a hell of a love proof and dedication to her children. So yeah, this is so, like, to me, this is very important to keep. And I found the chart, yeah, this weekend. So like, for example, you get one of the mice. Isn't that cute? I think that's so cute. So I think I'm done for today. I've shown you everything that I've had. If you have any questions, any remarks, anything that you're interested in knowing more about in the video, especially about artists and stuff, feel free to ask and leave a comment. In the meantime, on se revoit dans 2 semaines. En attendant, profitez bien de vos broderies, du point de croix, tout ça. Et travaillez bien, amusez-vous. Et puis à la prochaine.